We had a look at the best, now let's dive into the worst. These are the 5 worst episodes in Star Trek the original series. Number 1. The Mark of Gideon. This is an episode which is fine on first viewing, but the more you think about it, the worse it gets. Kirk tries beaming down to a planet which has refused contact with the Federation so far. After beaming, he finds himself on a seemingly deserted Enterprise with a woman named Odana. It's eventually revealed that the planet has a massive overpopulation problem, and the planet's leaders want a virus carried in Kirk's blood to help lower their population, hoping he'd fall in love with Odana so he wouldn't leave. Question 1. Why did you need to build a full-scale replica of the Enterprise? Like, it doesn't really fool him for very long, he can't leave the ship or contact anyone outside it. What was he supposed to think, that everyone else in the galaxy had vanished? Question 2. If you wanted the virus from Kirk's blood, why not just ask for a blood sample? But the overpopulation problem shouldn't even be a problem when you consider Question 3. Why not just ask the Federation to help settle people on other planets? If the planet is overcrowded, just get some spaceships to rock up, load loads of people onto them, and then put them on other planets. Starfleet is pretty big on the humanitarian missions, so they'd probably be happy to help. With a weak mystery and nonsensical plotting, this episode completely falls apart. And it's made even worse by the dumbfounded performance from Sharon Acker and the non-existent chemistry between her and Shatner. This is an episode which tries to be deep but falls flat in every way. Number 2. Turnabout Intruder. It's pretty sad that a show which is held up as being so progressive has an episode so blatantly sexist. An old flame of Kirk's named Janice body swaps with him in order to take over the Enterprise. While her irrational commands wreak havoc on the ship, time is running out for Kirk, stuck in Janice's dying body. Now, first of all, this entire thing stems from an apparent Starfleet policy which forbids women from being starship captains, a policy which has been quickly and thankfully retconned by Star Trek since. The thematic takeaway from the episode is an ill-conceived notion that women just can't handle powerful positions. Although we do get some deliciously hammy acting from William Shatner, whatever cheesy charm is conjured quickly fades under outdated and bigoted attitudes, even for the time this episode was made. Not only is the premise weak and borderline insulting, but it's accompanied by these strange statements about how it feels to be a woman, which give the overall tone a very uncomfortable feel. Thankfully, Star Trek is above this kind of material for the vast majority of its content, because here it's nearly unwatchable. Number 3. The Alternative Factor. Do you like scenes of 2 out-of-focus people awkwardly wrestling for what seems like hours? Well then, this is the episode for you. The crew meets Lazarus, a time traveler who has a duplicate made of antimatter. They continuously switch places because of, dimensions, time, stuff. And if they're ever brought together in the same reality, all of existence will cease to be. This episode is just a mess. The production of this one was chaos, with last-minute rewrites and Robert Brown being cast as Lazarus literally the day before shooting. The scientific dimensional babble is nonsense. Robert Brown never quite nails down a good performance, and huge chunks of the episode drag on with awkward, weird fight scenes between the duplicates, which seem to take place in the black hole. This one is a real head-scratcher, but not for good reasons. Number 4. Plato's Stepchildren. People often refer to Star Trek as a grand exploration of the human condition, a forward-thinking vehicle made up of grand ideas and bold concepts. And then they come across this. This episode does something which was pretty much done to death in the original series anyway. The Enterprise encounters an incomprehensibly powerful alien species who proceed to fuck around with everyone for a while for their own amusement. Oh, and it also does that thing where it's an alien world, but they just so happen to have evolved to create a culture exactly resembling one on Earth. Although it does earn major brownie points for breaking ground with an interracial kiss, the extended sequence of Kirk and Spock being made to perform stupid shit is weird and frankly embarrassing. There's a limit to the goodwill the original series instills because of groovy funkiness, and this episode reaches it. Number 5. Spock's brain. I mean, of course. This episode is so bad, but it's bizarrely enjoyable. A random alien woman appears on the Enterprise and knocks everyone out. When they come to, they discover that Spock's brain has been stolen from his head, so Kirk and co. embark on a quest to go get it back. This is just blatantly ridiculous. Star Trek stretches the plausibility of its science plenty of times, but this episode completely breaks it. The kind of somersaults of disbelief that this episode has to perform to explain why Spock isn't immediately and completely completely dead is absurd on every level. Not to mention the society that stole his brain doesn't make a lick of sense, and the final solution is just as silly as having poor Leonard Nimoy being remote controlled on set by a red shirt. However, the funny thing is, I can never really hate this episode because of how crazy the whole thing is. Spock's brain veers into so bad it's good territory. It's the perfect kind of thing to play a drinking game with. Drink every time someone says brain. It doesn't make this episode good, but at least it's entertaining. While Star Trek the original series truly struck gold in terms of storytelling most of the time, these are just 5 examples of the times it dropped the ball in a major way. Some episodes are dull, uncomfortable, weirdly regressive, and some are like Spock's brain. Utter garbage, but in a fun way. What are some original series episodes that make you cringe? Did I miss any out? If so, comment below. Until then, live long and prosper. Ooh, also, the day this vid goes up, Star Trek Discovery will have hit Netflix where I am, so I'm probably enjoying it right now. A video discussing the first episode will follow soon, so stay tuned.